Today I'm dehydrating eggplant. Welcome to Urban Prepping with Pam. I'm Pam. Hello friends, before I get started, I'd just like to remind you to click the subscribe button down below and also the notification bell so that you'll be notified every time I put up a new video. Eggplant is not the kind of food that you really can successfully can. The only way that I have found to preserve eggplant, because you can only eat so much, is to dehydrate it. But there are some things you need to do with an eggplant because, as you know, it turns brown really fast. And so let me just show you how I do mine, and it works for me. Here's my eggplant. And the first thing you do is you don't want to touch the top because, as you know, it can poke you. So I cut the top off. I try to reserve as much as I can, but that top's got to come off. And then I have my compost bin, and I just throw it in there. Now I have a spray bottle with lemon juice in it, and I'm going to spray this cut section right now. So some of the equipment that you're going to want to have is a spray bottle. If you have a spray bottle, this really is the best way that I've found that works. I don't think that you really want to dip your eggplant in lemon juice because eggplant is like a sponge, and I wouldn't want the eggplant to absorb too much of that lemon juice because I don't think I'd like the flavor myself. But anyway, so you've got your eggplant, you've got your spray bottle with lemon juice, the compost bucket or a bowl or something to put your compost in. I've got a paring knife, a cutting knife, a small bowl that would hold one cut up eggplant. You don't need anything bigger than that, so I just had this plastic bowl. I'm going to use that. I've got more eggplants over there, and then I have my screens here for my dehydrator. So let's get started. You want to cut, you know, they say to your first knuckle, from the end of your thumb to your first knuckle is an inch. Okay, well, I'm not cutting that quite an inch. I'm probably cutting this 3/4 of an inch or maybe even a 1/2 of an inch. So I'm going to make a cut like this because that's how thick I want it. And then I'm going to spray that a little bit. Okay. So for me, it's easier because believe me, I've tried it. It's no fun skinning a whole eggplant. This works so much better for me. I make my slice first, and then I cut the skin off that slice. And that'll go in my compost. You just want them to be about this size. Okay? I don't know if you can see that. Just about that size. And I'll take the cubes that I just cut, and then I spray them and toss them around just a little bit, because if you don't, your eggplant is going to turn black really fast. And when you dehydrate them, you don't want them to have that color on them. Some years we hardly have any eggplant. We always have like 4 or 5. But this year, we've got a lot. And they're beautiful. I mean, look at the condition that these... Aren't those gorgeous? They're perfect. They're absolutely perfect. And I don't know why. So you see, eggplants are kind of spongy. That's why I say not to soak them in lemon juice if you can help it. I mean, if you have no choice, you do what you got to do. But I don't want my eggplant to taste sour. And when I dehydrate my eggplant, they don't have, even though these are sprayed with lemon juice, they do not have a sour taste on the outside of them. Now when I make fresh eggplant, you can only eat so many dinners of eggplant parmesan. it's a treat, but it's not a treat every night. So I do also like to slice my eggplant like this. Sometimes I have to cut it in half if the slices are really big. And I dip the sliced eggplant in egg, and then I dip the eggplant, say that 5 times real fast, in breadcrumbs that have been seasoned with my homemade garlic salt and some pepper, and then fry them. We like that. I like to fry them till they're crispy on the outside. And sometimes people ask me, why are you canning that, or why are you dehydrating that? Why don't you eat it fresh? We do eat these things fresh, believe me. But again, there's only just the 2 of us, and we like to grow a lot because we like to have food. You know, I've said it before, our goal is to have enough food to get us through a year. I'll probably have several jars of these eggplant cubes, which really help beef up my soups and stews. And a lot of times my husband doesn't even know they're in there. He has seen me dehydrate eggplants over the years, but he really surprised me just a couple weeks ago. He said to me, well, I see you dehydrate the eggplant, but you never use it. And I said, yes, I do. It's in your soups and stews. Oh, it is? Yep. So he doesn't even know they're in there. I just had a battery go out on my camera. So when I saw that happen, I didn't spray these, and look at what happened. They got dark. It's like apples. It doesn't make it unsafe to eat. It's just a chemical reaction to the oxygen in the air. We're almost done here. But I do love dehydrating, because with dehydration you don't waste any food. This is just such a wonderful way of preserving. And especially foods that don't can well. And in that category I would definitely put eggplant, because you really can't can it. You can't. It would just turn to mush. My husband is the gardener in the family, and he works very hard. Every day he's out in the garden. If you have a garden, you know that's how it's got to be. Every single day. He works all day and comes home and spends every afternoon out in the garden. Even when it's raining, unless it's really bad, he puts on his rain gear and goes out there in the rain. The only time he doesn't do that is when we have tornado weather. Then he's in. And that does happen sometimes around here. Okay, so these end pieces, you just have to go with it. I don't know. Cut them the best you can. That was one whole eggplant, and you see how much I've got. And I've got 4, 5, 6 more eggplant to go, and I've got one on the trays already. So I had already cut up an eggplant when I said to myself, hey, this might be a helpful video for somebody that has not done this before. So I stopped and went and got my camera, put on some lipstick. I don't just turn on the camera, I've got to put on some lipstick. So if you're thinking about dehydrating, if you don't have a dehydrator yet, it would definitely be something I'd consider getting, especially if you garden. So this was one eggplant, only one eggplant, and look at all this food. You can imagine how much I'm going to have at the end of our growing season, which is the point in this house, because we are preppers. Even though we live in an urban area, we live near Chicago, we have very harsh winters here. And so our goal is every time we do something, we want to try to put a 1-year supply away. And then I'm going to put this tray on the dehydrator with the other one. Through the magic of video, it's now the next day. And so I'd like to show you how the eggplant looks when it comes out of the dehydrator and how I store it for long-term storage. Now that the eggplant is out of the dehydrator, this is how it looks. And it kind of looks like mushrooms. That's what it reminds me of in a way. It's got a consistency of dried mushrooms, but it does not taste like mushrooms. And now, you probably get tired of hearing me say this in all of my dehydrating videos, but I always wear a glove on one hand because I'm right-handed and I use my right hand to touch the food. And the reason why I wear a glove is because we have oil on our hands and I don't want to get that oil on the food because it's going to be stored. Now I ended up with, what do we have, I think 6 trays of eggplant from yesterday. It's been in the dehydrator about 20 hours. Now probably did not need that much dehydration, but when I checked it at 10 o'clock last night before I went to bed, it was not ready to come out of the dehydrator. So it probably would have been ready sometime during the night while I was sleeping. And so what I do then is I turn the heat down. I don't think I had it that high. I had it at about 125 degrees when I was drying it. And then last night I turned it down to about 115 degrees, maybe 110. Okay. There we go. Not bad. Not a bad harvest at all. So hopefully these will fit in 2 jars. All I do is I put the lid on, put this on, and for these lids you need to put, there's a little extension that goes in that hole. And so this part you need for certain kinds of bags, but I'm not using that right now. So that comes off. And I put this right in here. And you get used to hearing it, what it sounds like. See? This is now sealed. See? The air's been taken out of here. And then I always put a ring on it to help keep it sealed. This, right here, these 2 jars are 7 eggplants. Isn't that amazing? I'm never going to get over how amazing it is when you dehydrate food. I don't know what it is about dehydrating that I love so much. Aside from the fact that now these will be good for years. And I don't know if they're going to last that long, but they are good for years. And who knows, because we have more eggplant growing out in the garden. So I'm going to have several more jars, I think, which is I'm excited about. And like I said yesterday, I use these for soups and stews. They're perfect for that. It helps add flavor and bulk to your food. You're not going to get the flavor from the eggplant because it really doesn't have much flavor on its own, but it's going to pick up other flavors. So if you're sauteing something before you put it in your sauce or your pan, put some of these dehydrated eggplant in with it, and that will absorb some of that wonderful flavor. So thank you for joining me, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.